Hello, welcome to another board game review from me. I'm kicking this off again, getting back into my collection alphabetically. You'll notice that I don't have a big display of a game out. That's because I'm reviewing the next game is one of my smaller games, and that's Bang the Dice Game. Now, a general consensus amongst reviewers is that this replaces the original Bang, which I haven't actually played, so I can't comment on that. I don't know how much they compare. But yeah, a lot of reviews say that the Bang the Dice Game is a replacement for Bang. The only other thing about Bang I know is that it comes in. You can get it in that really big the bullet case thing, which is kind of cool, but seems really impractical. Anyway, Bang is a game for 3 to 8 players, and it's played in teams. So there are 3 teams. There's the sheriff and his deputies are one team. The outlaws are another team, and then the renegades are the third team. Although technically the renegades are working by themselves, so they're kind of a team each. So basically, the sheriff and his deputies want to kill all the bad guys, the outlaws want to kill the sheriff, and the renegade wants to be the last man standing. That means that they have to eliminate all the other players and then eliminate the sheriff last. Now, why is this so hard, you might ask? Well, it's because nobody knows who anybody is. The cards are dealt out randomly. The only person who reveals themselves is the sheriff. The idea is that you're in a big shootout and you're all hiding in various locations and you're just not sure who is where, but the sheriff is obviously stood out in the street going, "Hey, everybody come out with your hands up." So you're firing at the other players without really knowing whose side they are on. So as it starts out, being that the renegade ends up being on the sheriff's side because they want to eliminate the other players before killing the sheriff. So they need to kill all the outlaws and the deputies first. So they start on the sheriff's side and then they have to flip against him. It's an interesting balance. It works really well. But the outlaws are just trying to figure out who the other outlaws are and who the other deputies are. The deputies are everyone's trying to convince the sheriff that they're the deputy, they're a deputy on his side. Everyone's trying to convince them of that. The way the game works is a basic Yahtzee King of Tokyo style, in that you have your handful of dice, you roll them, pick which dice you want to get. It's a really terrible roll actually. Pick which dice you want to keep, re-roll, and then pick those dice, pick ones you want to keep, and then re-roll again. So you get 2 re-rolls unless your character says otherwise. And then you get your final hand of dice that you can then use to play. The dice have various faces. There you have dynamite. Dynamite is the bad face. If you roll a dynamite, you can't re-roll it. You have to keep dynamites whenever you roll them. If at any point on your turn you end up with 3 dynamites, you've accidentally blown yourself up. You take a life point and you can't roll the dice anymore. You have to resolve whatever it is you've got. An arrow. Arrows can be re-rolled, but every time you roll one, you have to take an arrow from the supply, and there's a limited amount of supply. These are the Native Americans, essentially, who are circling the scene, firing in just for the fun of it, I guess. So every time you roll an arrow, you have to take an arrow thing. Even though you can re-roll the dice again, you might roll an arrow again, in which case you have to take another arrow. When this stack of arrows runs out, the Indians attack, and everybody with an arrow takes 1 life point per arrow they have. So this can suddenly kill a whole bunch of people if it gets out of control. Next you have the Gatling gun. The Gatling gun shoots every player. If you can get 3 Gatling guns, you just spray everybody else. You hit everyone else for 1 life point. It's kind of, you don't know who you're shooting at, so you just shoot everyone. But that's relatively tricky to get 3 of those. What's more likely is you're going to get a 1 or a 2. Now, a 1 means that you can shoot somebody 1 space away from you. You can shoot the players on either side of you. And 2 means you can shoot players 2 spaces away from you. This gets more interesting in a larger players game because it means you can't shoot people who are too far away from you. So you're limited to who you have to shoot, and you have to decide who you want to kill and who you don't much earlier on. The other thing on the dice is the beer. Beer heals you 1 point. When you take damage, you take bullets from this supply to indicate that you have been shot, or you could start with a stack of bullets and discard them, whatever prefers. But I normally play that you take a bullet every time you get hit to indicate that you've been hit by a bullet. And once you reach your life points, you are dead. You reveal what side you are on, and then everybody else keeps playing with that new information. In addition to everything else, each player gets a character. There's quite a lot of characters in the game. It's quite impressive actually. There's tons of these cards. And each character has its own special power. Each character has their life points for a start, which vary. So Lucky Duke has 8 life points, and his special power is he can make 1 extra reroll. Susie Lafette also has 8 points, and her power is if you didn't roll any 1s or 2s, you gain 2 life points. If she doesn't shoot anybody, she gains life points. Jesse Jones has 9 hit points. If you have 4 life points or less, you gain 2 every time you use a beer. So they're all unique powers. Some of them are slightly more useful than others, but they're all, you know, they add for a lot of variability to the game. In addition to this, the sheriff, whenever he gets with his character, he gets +2 life points, so he's always tougher than everybody else. Yes, super simple game, loads of fun, nice and quick, works really well. It's a little weird. I have played it with the 3-player variant, which is a little strange, but it's more of a big group. You kind of want a 6 or at least. But yeah, no, it's a really good, really neat little game. That's good sort of bluffing and push your luck and everything else. I mean, I can't really say much more about it. I've given you the breakdown of the game. It's yeah, it's a good, quick, fun, sort of jokey, sort of push your luck bluffing game. That really works well in a small crowd, and it can teach it to anybody. Super simple game. Yeah, that's Bang the Dice Game. That was really genuine. It's such a simple little, neat little game. That there's not really much else to say about it. I do recommend it if you haven't tried it. There you go, Bang the Dice Game. Please do check out my other videos. I've got all sorts of other board game reviews and just talking about stuff and films and movies and other short films that I've made and things like that. I'm going to start in a video diary for the next film I'm making. And yeah, please do like and subscribe, and find me on Twitter and Facebook and all these other things. Find the One Bearded Man you can find on Facebook. Thanks for watching. The end.